Hi, bumblebees! I hope you are well. Today I'm in Karura forest, and this is Wangari Maathai's corner, and this is where the fight started to save the forest. Hi, bumblebees!
Hi bumblebees, how are you? Today we're in Karura forest and we're going to read a book. It's called Mama Miti. It's by Donna, Jo Napoli. The reason why we're reading this book is to celebrate Wangari Maathai. It's because of her that this forest exists, and it's because of her that majority of the tree cover around Kenya is happening, and that we have an awareness about the importance of trees. So we're really excited about this, to read about Wangari Maathai. She's a hero throughout Kenya, and yeah, let's get on with the book. On the highlands of Africa, near forest and plains and a huge salt lake, Wangari was born. The face of Mount Kenya smiled down on her. People told stories of how in the old days, sometimes the sun shone too bright, too long, and droughts came. Creatures suffered, plants wilted, and people fought. So the men held ceremonies under the mugumo, the spreading sacred fig tree, and the skies blessed them with shimmering rains to slake their thirst and water their farms. Village elders placed staffs from the figgy tree between angry men, and enemies became friends. Wangari listened to these stories, and that's how she came to love and respect trees. That's how she came to be wise in the tradition of her family and village, of her country and her continent. When Wangari grew up, she worked in the city, but she always remembered her roots. She planted trees in her backyard and sat under them to refresh her body and her spirit. One day, a poor woman came from the Western Valley to see the wise Wangari. Her children peeked out from behind her at the smiling woman in the bright blue cloth with squiggles all through it, like tadpoles squirming in a pool. "I have too little food to feed my family," said the poor woman. "There is no longer a job for me in the timber mill, and I have no other skills. What can I do?" Wangari took the woman's hands and turned them over. She took the children's hands one by one. "These are strong hands. Here are seedlings of the mobilize tree. Plant them. Plant as many as you can and eat the berries. Daya, peace, my people." The woman and her children returned home and planted trees with their strong hands, one by one. In the years to come, when flowering seasons were over, the family ate the shiny round fruits. They shared with their neighbors, who carried home the seeds and planted them, and grew their own mobilize trees. Another woman came to the wise Wangari, as poor as the first. This one traveled from the mountain in the south. Her daughters stood beside her, thin as ropes. "My daughters and I walk hours every day to find firewood to cook with," said the poor woman. "It takes so long, and we have no time for anything else. What can I do?" Wangari took the woman by the arms. "These arms are strong," she said. "Plant a tree. Here are the seedlings of the mukinduri. This tree makes good firewood. Plant as many as you can."
Daya, peace, my people.
The woman and her daughters planted those seedlings. In time, the trees grew huge, with many wide branches. The woman and her daughters cut branches for warmth. They shared their new seedlings with their neighbors, who carried them home and grew their own mukinduri trees. Word passed from woman to woman until all over Kenya, women knew about the wise Wangari. They came to her from every direction, one after the other, as the years went by. "Our goats are starving," said a woman from the northern desert. "I have barely enough food to feed my family. How can my husband feed the animals too?" "Plant a tree, a moharigendi. The leaves are good animal fodder. Plant as many as you can."
Daya, peace, my people.
"My cows are sick," said another from the savannah. "I have no money to buy medicine for them." "Plant a tree, a mudakwa wa athi. The leaves cure gall sickness in cattle."
Die on you, but peace, my people.
Wild animals come in the night and steal my chickens, said a woman from a fishing village. She shook her head in worry. Plant a tree. A mukawa. Its thorns will keep out predators.
Die on you, but peace, my people.
My home fell apart, came the cry of another woman who had come all the way from the coast. We have no shelter. Plant a tree. A muluhakua. The timber makes good building poles.
Die on you, but peace, my people.
Wangari told women to plant murigono, whose branches make good stakes for training yam vines. She told them to plant muhuti as a living fence around their animal yards. She told them to plant mugoya, whose leaves could be wrapped around the bananas to ripen them. And she told them to plant the moringa for the pure joy of their white flowers. And when a woman from her own village came, lamenting that the water in her stream was too dirty to drink, Wangari told her to plant mukuyu, the giant sacred fig, the drinker of water, which acts as nature's filter to clean streams.
Die on you, but peace, my people.
Soon, cool, clear waters teemed with black, wriggling tadpoles, like the ones on Wangari's clothes, like the ones Wangari marveled at in the waters when she was small, when Kenya was covered with trees and animals, and when people lived in peace with nature. All over the countryside, the trees that had disappeared came back. Nairobi, the capital city, had been known as Kinuini, the place where there are many miinu trees. Now it was Kinuini again. Kenya was strong once more, strong and peaceful. Wangari changed the country tree by tree. She taught her people the ancient wisdom of peace with nature. And now she's teaching the rest of the world. She is known these days as Mama Miti, the mother of trees. The green belt of peace started with one good woman offering something we can all do. Plant a tree.
Die on you, but peace, my people.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's story, Mama Miti. Now, kids, tell me what you liked most about the book.
How you plant trees and how you get the trees and how you put the trees in the ground.
So maybe the different uses?
I learned that even if you don't have a house, you can just plant a tree and you'll get shelter.
And you, Alexander?
The same thing as one boy.
The same thing as one boy. So basically what we learned is that trees are very important, right? That without trees, there'd be so many things that we wouldn't be able to do. So guys, what did we learn? The most important thing that we learned today was that we all have to
Plant a tree!
Exactly. At least every tree planting season, okay? So bumblebees, next tree planting season is in a couple of months. We hope that you all get out there to plant a tree and make sure that it's an indigenous tree, which means that it's a tree that's specific for the country that you live in and the area that you live in. So bumblebees, that brings us to the end of today. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel Bumblebees Kenya. And until next time,
Bye,
bye bumblebees!